All right, joining us now, Dan Savage, who writes this syndicated sex column. It's called Savage Love. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How big a problem is this?
Well, it's a big problem in the lives of a lot of the men who do it. It's not a problem in the lives of most openly gay men. Invariably, when there's a bust in a public restroom where there's this lewd activity going on, reporters are shocked to discover that the men who've been arrested are heterosexually identified, straight identified, married men, frequently, and priests. Very rarely do you hear about openly gay men being busted in a place like that.
So what are you saying? What are you saying with that?
I'm saying it's a release mechanism for guys who are closeted. This is once again a la as with Ted Haggard, who claims to be heterosexual now, with Bob Allen, the Florida state rep.
And whose fault is it that they're closeted?
It's the culture's fault. Gay men and gays and lesbians don't construct a culture that encourages people to remain closeted all their lives. It's also, however, this individual's responsibility. I think that Senator Craig has been an adult for, since the gay and lesbian civil rights movement has achieved remarkable successes, and he chose to remain closeted if he is in fact gay, which I believe he is, and I think most sensible people are going to conclude. And he chose a life of furtive sexual contacts to get his sexual needs met in places that are, frankly, kind of revolting and not fair to other people who may be in the bathroom for its intended purpose.
Yeah, I suppose so. By the way, just to be fair, Bob Allen has not been charged with this, and he has said all along that he is not guilty. He's pleading not guilty in this case. Just to be fair on that count. I know that there's a lot of names that have been thrown out there. When you look at this, though, couldn't you just say these guys, the ones who actually are found guilty of something like this, are just plain wrong, and it has nothing to do with the culture forcing them to do these things? Because after all, I mean, going into a bathroom to have anonymous sex with somebody you don't even know is in and of itself just creepy, isn't it?
Oh, it is creepy. For some men, as your expert said earlier, that is the thrill. Part of the thrill is the risk. But it is an inappropriate kind of acting out. And it is the way the culture used to accommodate gays and lesbians. Once, for 1,500 years, you couldn't live as an openly gay person, and your heterosexuality was compulsory. So people lived heterosexual lives, gay people did, and then had gay sex in places where the culture said, okay, there and nowhere else. Bathhouses, bathrooms, some public parks. And that cultural compact has now shifted where you can live an openly gay life, and there's less tolerance for this sort of activity, even among gays and lesbians. Gay people don't like hearing that he was, arrested doing something gay in a bathroom. There's nothing gay about what he was doing. He was doing something pathetic and desperate in a bathroom, and something that very few gay men do. Right.
It has nothing to do with that. You make a very good point. That's important. By the way, how do these guys know where to go? I mean, are there specific bathrooms that they know to go to?
There are now, thanks to the internet, lists of cruisy toilets that are constantly updated and websites. And again, these websites really do facilitate and make it possible for men who choose to remain closeted because they believe, Jesus hates them if they're gay, or their constituents won't vote for them if they come out, which is very likely in this case. It makes it possible for them to live a double life, and what facilitates that double life.
What about this officer? Did you read the police report? The officer talks about tapping the foot and then, holding with his hand the bottom of the stall. Is this true? I mean, are there actual hand signals and gestures that you make when you want someone to engage in something like this with you?
Well, I've never engaged in this, but from what I've read, there is an escalation of contact when people are trying to cruise. One of the things that most people don't realize about these cruisy bathrooms, your reporter showed a clip of children in a park to create the impression of children in peril. Most of this stuff is very subtle, and people have no idea it's going on because the person's engaging in this contact don't want to be arrested, don't want to be busted, and also don't want to alarm people unnecessarily. And so what there'll be this initial contact, a little initial eye contact, which is where the police report begins, and then this subtle and slow escalation of welcomed and reciprocated subtle signals, the tapping of feet. The police officer didn't, if somebody stared at me through a crack in a bathroom stall as this began, I would give them a dirty look and they would go away, as most people would. The police officer did not, welcomed the contact, and the senator escalated the contact, which is how these things play out. People don't just leap on each other in public restrooms.
That is what the police report says. It is what is alleged. We'll follow the story. We thank you, Dan, for bringing us your insight on this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.